What's up guys, this is Evan with Backwoods Adventure Mods. Today I want to go over some of the updates that we made to the Transit Scout bumper that correspond to some of the changes that Ford has made to the Transit and some of the new models that are out there. So since we released this bumper to the market, the Transit Trail was released, the Winnebago EKKO has really gained popularity, and there's a larger intercooler available on some of the models that pertain to a towing package or some of the 350 vans. So anyway, I want to go over the changes that we made to the bumper to accommodate that. If none of that applies to you, if you don't have a Trail or an EKKO or the bigger intercooler, I've also got some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that'll help make the installation easier. So if that's you, just feel free to watch the tips and tricks and skip ahead, click the link to the full install video. The first tip is take out the headlights. I actually had never tried it until recently. I didn't realize how easy it is, and it really helps disassemble the bumper. So there are two screws on top and one little tab on the bottom, and then you unplug the wiring harness from the headlight, and that's it. It's so easy. Once that's out, you have easy access to this tab, which kind of holds that fascia on, and you can use a little Torx bit and loosen these. That allows this to pop out just enough so that when you pop out the upper bumper valance, it doesn't try to tear the little tabs. So that was a game changer once I learned that. Next, I think most of you would agree that getting the stock steel bumper off is the hardest part, kind of the worst part, and there's so many different methods to do it. I've traditionally used a chisel to break the outer ones and then kind of twisted the bumper until this inner one popped off. But if you have access to one of these like I did today, this was another game changer. You can just come in here and a few good hits breaks that one. Same with the other side, just get both two and then twist the bumper off again. So if you don't have it, it's doable the way that I've always done it, but this was really nice. Third, on the Trail specifically, when you go to pull the whole bumper cover off, don't forget there are three little plugs here for the grille lights. And then previously when I talked about the Trail, I said you need to remove this flare, and you absolutely can, but it's kind of hard. It's basically taped off, so it's kind of hard to get it back just right. So this time I tried just removing the flare from the bumper and just kind of pulling out on it long enough to get the bumper popped forward. And that seems to be the way to go, because now I'm not going to have to mess with the tape up here. I'll just retape the part that attaches to the bumper. And the only thing that really holds it in besides the tape are there's a screw in the bottom and a couple of the little plastic rivets in the back. And then it's just these tabs. So once you take the hardware out, it just pops out and the tape will peel back, and then you can pull the bumper out and just leave that there. The last little tip, which I may not have made clear enough in the previous video, I've had some questions. When you're removing the stock bumper, there's these two bolts about here and here behind where the license plate would go. Make sure you keep those two bolts, and when you get the plastic bumper cover off, you'll be able to remove this clip nut that these bolts thread into. The reason for that is the grill clip, which is what is going to hold that plastic piece back to the bumper. It goes underneath the bumper like this, and you'll adjust it based on how you've installed your bumper. And this clip is going to go into that slot, and you'll be able to re-secure the plastic bumper back to the new bumper, just like that. Okay, so as far as changes that we made to the actual bumper, this slot on the mounting pad is lengthened so that it's directly below this one as well as all the way out. If you have the Transit Trail with this lift, or I suppose even a Quigley Q lift might apply, this brace gets moved down. On the rest of the vans, this hole lines up with this hole, which is why you would use these two locations. But with the lifted vans, you're going to use this hole and not this lower one. So that's why this slot is lengthened. You'll leave it sitting just like this if you have a Trail, and use these 8 bolts and disregard those 2. Next, looking down from the top, you can see that the back of the winch cradle is pushed forward. That's to allow clearance for the bigger intercooler. If you have that bigger intercooler, you will need to mount the winch as far forward as possible, which is why this relief cut here exists. If you've had to push your winch all the way forward, then the traditional radar mounting bracket won't work. So traditionally, we would put this little plate right there, this plastic plate, it covers up the radar, and then we would mount the little sensor to this bracket, and then we would mount that assembly right there with these top 2 holes. The external style works like this. You mount the sensor and the plastic cover plate all together to the bracket. And then you mount the entire bracket assembly using these 4 holes, and you won't use this piece at all. So that's if your winch sits all the way forward and there's no room for the sensor inside the bumper. These are a new addition as well. These are air deflector plates. So if you have a very heavy van, or if you pull a trailer, or if you live in a really hilly area, or it's very hot, and for whatever reason you need that extra airflow, maybe you have the bigger intercooler and a winch, so there's not a lot of room back there. Not everybody will need these, but if you do, they're going to mount inside the bumper and allow air to go in the airflow holes and be directed straight towards the intercooler. So it's going to mount in here just like that. These square holes are for these cage nuts, and you'll come in from the bottom side. I need both hands to do it, but you will squeeze the tabs together so that this thing hangs in the hole just below the level of the surface there. And you'll use the included 3/8 button head bolts to thread down through the plate and into those cage nuts. There are a few more things in the hardware kit that we include now just by default automatically. That's the sensor housings, which will snap in right there. I've gone over that in detail in the video. And delete plugs. These are plastic now and they just snap in just like the housings do. So if you don't have the sensors, you'll use these instead. All the little accessory bolts are now black stainless, so you don't have little chrome dots all over the bumper. We've included a little bit of 3M VHB tape, and that's for if you have the trail, whether you've taken off the whole fender flare or just removed it from the bumper, you'll want to put new VHB tape to secure that back in place. Lastly, and probably most noticeably, are these spacers. You can see they look just like the frame here and just like the bumper mount. If you have the bigger intercooler, you might need 1 or 2 of these per side. Most installs won't use these. Most installs that do need these will just use 1, so it's going to be rare that you need both. So if you feel like you need the spacer, if for instance your intercooler is contacting the bumper when you do a test fit, use a spacer per side and see how that works. We've also lengthened the hardware to go through the extra thickness here. So give that a shot, see if you can get by with none, then if not, try 1, and if that doesn't work, use both per side. But of course you'll get the cleanest install the closer you can keep the bumper to the front of the vehicle, so the fewer the better. But these are here if you need them.